My friends, I wanted to come on and do a little bit of a soul tribe reading. I don't know how long it'll be. It's really dark here. I almost didn't do it. It was so dark that when I was doing my love readings, it was like you couldn't even see me. And I'm not really, I used to be a photographer and I'm really not a fan of artificial light. I like natural light. I like daylight, which is why I do all of my readings using natural light. But for some reason, I felt called to come do a soul tribe reading because it's been a few days since I've done one. I was feeling very not myself these last few days. Yesterday, I spent like 5 hours under a blanket. So, but anyway, I wanted to come on and do a little bit of a reading with you. And the other reading I did the other day about inner childhood healing. I had a lot of you ask me about the pig because I know that when I first got it, I showed my soul tribe, but maybe you weren't a part of that. Anyway, brace yourselves because he's super cute. He's just little and he looked much nicer when I got him. He was like clean and now I've loved on him a little too hard, which is why I said I've taken him out of my bed. And now he lives with my black and white stuffed animals. But anyway, this is him. He's got the little silk paws and the little silk ears that I would rub when I was, being traumatized. And even today when I was on a phone call and I was like rubbing, I had like this really soft pajama top on and I was rubbing it. And clearly that was my way of helping myself process, was rubbing silky things. Anyway, this is him. And people will say, like, how did you ever find that pig? Because it's such a random pig. It's like a little plaid piggy. But as a child, I remembered this. I remembered the tag. So that's the only way that I was able to find it. But there's my little piggy that I spent way too much money on, but that was totally worth it. You were totally worth it, little piggy. I believe when I was younger, his name was Pinky. This isn't the same pig I had when I was a child because I lost my pig. I lost a lot of my stuff that I had when I was a kid. But yeah, his name was Pinky. Anyway, that's my little piggy. So I decided to come on and do a little bit of a reading for you. Again, I don't like the artificial light, but we'll just have to deal with it for a little bit. So I don't even really know what I want to do for you here. I wanted to get a few different decks, I think. My plan is to hit up some of my old favorites. So one of my favorites is the law of positivism, however you say it. So let's start with that one. And then we'll read a little bit out of the book, and I'll try and ignore that the lighting is bothering me. As a photographer, it would drive me crazy if the light was off, but nobody else could notice. Like my clients couldn't tell, but I could tell. Anyway, so let's see what we need to hear today. Let's see what we need to hear today. We have, I'm sure we've read this before. I release energy that is blocking my inner vibrational flow. So, any imbalance let's start up the top. The flow of subtle energy within our body's energy channels is what sustains life and vitality. This energy must flow through the energy channels, nadis, or meridians, undisturbed to be able to fuel the body's functions and mind. A blockage appears as a disease, discomfort, or just a sense of imbalance in the body. Any imbalance in the body starts on a subtler level and then starts affecting the system as a whole. A blockage or stagnation in the energy channels hinders the energy from flowing smoothly, and we can feel stuck. A physical or mental blockage can manifest as pain, discomfort, and reoccurring thoughts. When we become more aware of our energetic body, we also feel if there is a flow through our body or if we have a blockage. When our energy body is imbalanced and stagnant, this can manifest physically in many ways. For example, fatigue, pain, insomnia, indigestion, and an inability to think clearly and create goals and visions. So, questions you can use to release blockages. Am I moving my body and energy through exercise, movement, meditation, and breath work? Am I eating fresh and whole foods from the earth filled with prana? I don't know what that is. Is my living environment healthy and balanced? Am I spending enough time in nature? When did the blockage occur and why? Am I holding on to something in the past? Can I release, control, and trust more? So, take it as it resonates, my friends. Let's get you some more. This one wants to come out right into my lap. I forgive and release the past to heal my life. And we've talked a lot about this. And about how resentment and anger can keep you stuck. Forgiveness is the internal process of unconditional acceptance, compassion, and release. When we understand that we have to accept all of life, its blessings and lessons, to fully walk our path, we release the need to hold on to the past. Forgiveness is the way to liberation and unconditional love and acceptance. What are you holding on to that is keeping you in the past? Is it a place, situation, event, memory, or person? Is it something that has been happening within you or outside of you? These questions are essential to contemplate if you are dedicated to healing your life and its layers. It is vital for the present moment and the future that you consciously let past experiences that haven't served you or even hurt you come to the surface so that you can observe them. This can bring back uncomfortable memories, but it is better to be consciously aware of them than to suppress them. When you do so, they cause imbalances, not only energetically, but also emotionally, physically, and mentally. Tap into your heart and that unconditional forgiveness to take a giant leap in your healing. So, practice to release and forgive. This practice is an act of self-love, which means you don't need the other person in order to forgive and release. You don't need that other person. You can do it yourself. Sit in stillness in meditation and ask yourself, what am I holding on to and what needs forgiveness? How can I forgive myself and others? Journal on the things that are coming up right now. This is what you need to focus on healing. Then write down, I forgive, and continue with what you are forgiving and releasing right now. And you can even write that on a full moon and burn it and release it on a full moon. Interesting. Let's get one more from this deck. We've already read this one before, but I will read it again. Movement helps my energy and emotions to flow. So very interesting, because I thought of all of you yesterday when I was feeling so bleh. And I felt called to spend all day under a blanket. In the evening, I wanted to do things that raised my vibration, and one of them was dancing to music in my bathroom. So I had, what did I have on? The Sound of Sunshine by, I can't remember the name, but it's like very upbeat. Look up The Sound of Sunshine. That's the sound of sunshine coming down. Anyway, look it up. It's an upbeat song. But I had songs like that on, and I was, dancing in my bathroom like a lunatic. But it helped me feel better. It helped release some of the stress I was feeling. Plus, I hadn't moved all day because I was under a blanket. And working out works as well. I use a treadmill, but I also really like dancing my energy, dancing in my bathroom. You can be the best dancer in the world in your bathroom. Nobody's there to see you or judge you. So, we have movement helps my energy and emotions to flow. Everything in life is constantly moving and changing, and movement is the key to transformation and creation. If we are not moving our bodies, the energy can't move properly, and the emotional bodies can stagnate. Physical movement helps our whole being and is what our bodies are made for. Do you have movement and flow in your life? Are you feeling stuck with emotions, thoughts, or energy flow? There are many ways of moving the body, including physical movement, exercise, yoga, and other physical practices. But it can also be movement through conscious breathing and subtle movement with the eyes. Any way that you can see if a small or big activation exercise can help you and your emotions flow more. Emotions can get stuck in our body, especially when unexpressed and when the body hasn't fully embodied the feeling. It is unresolved and needs a way to be moved and transformed. The same goes for our energy and the subtler aspects of our body. Now is the time to integrate more movement into your daily practice to move forward on your healing path. So movement exercises. Easy stretches in the morning. Getting out, breathing fresh air, letting the eyes consume nature. Physical movement through walking, running, and other forms. Breathing exercises that move energy and emotions. Simple eye movements, up, down, side to side, and around. And shaking, dancing, and singing. And now I'm hearing Shake Your Sillies Out by, I think it's Raffi. You gotta shake your sillies out. So again, I told you I'm gonna get a few different decks here. The next one was this one, which is Intuitive Whispers. Yes, Intuitive Whispers. So let's see what comes out of this deck. We have one next step, which I'm feeling called to take. One next step. So let's see what comes out for you with one next step. What does the soul tribe need to hear? We have message from the third eye. Interesting. We also have stop pushing and striving. Stop pushing and start striving is what I'm hearing. But we have message from the third eye. So this is your message from your intuition. And as I'm saying this, my third eye is hurting now. So maybe there's, maybe you're having a hard time trusting your intuition. Maybe you're getting an intuitive download about something and you're thinking it's just wishful thinking, or you're thinking you're delusional. Trust the whisper. Your third eye is your intuitive center, the space that connects you to the mystical. The message from your third eye is for you and you alone. When your intuition whispers, and look, it's called the Intuitive Whisper Oracle. When your intuition whispers, it is like an eternal, supportive friend who is guiding you along this journey of life. This card is a nudge to listen and trust the whispers. What is it saying? It can feel easier to ignore the whisper, as it's not always what we want or expect to hear, but don't. Trust it. You are a special soul, and the sooner you act on this inner whisper, the sooner your full purpose will be revealed to you. I love it. I often tell you guys how I used to sit around watching tarot and something inside of me would whisper, you could do that. If you've been struggling to find purpose lately, look no further. The answer is not going to come from outside of you. It will rise from you knowing yourself and the desires of your body. Your purpose is already written. Stop searching outwardly and look inward through the lens of your third eye. How to hear the message. To open the third eye, close your eyes and repeat this 5-part breath. Exhale deeply. Take a sip of air into your belly. Take a sip of air into your chest. Take a sip of air into your third eye, between the eyebrows and deep in the mind. Hold your breath for 5 seconds and squeeze your energy upward into the third eye. Release, then repeat 5 times. There's also something you can do to clean your third eye or clean the energy of it, especially if you're like an empath or someone who is affected by other people's energies. You should look up how to do that because I won't be able to tell you how to. I don't feel confident in telling you how to do it. But from what I remember, it's very much about massaging your third eye. I've been told to do it before I go to sleep. And then you visualize like clearing out the energetic gunk that's stuck in there. Just, in case you're thinking about doing that. Or if you're feeling bored and want to live on the edge, clear out your third eye. Do you know, I have to tell you this because you're my soul tribe. But I used to love watching Survivor and I would rewatch them. So there's a few of them that I've seen like a lot. And I can't remember what one it was. It was the one with, if you guys watch Survivor and you know what I'm talking about, you're my heroes. But it was the one where they had everybody separated by race. And so like the players that I remember, if you even know what I'm talking about, were like, it was Ozzy's original season and Yule was on it. I believe that's the season. But anyway, on one of the tribes, there was somebody who kept having a headache. And there was they called him Quirky, this quirky guy that was into healing and meditation and things like that. And he said, I'm just going to remove the bad wind from you. And so he did this like ceremony where he massaged the third eye and like pulled the energy. I don't know what he was doing. Anyway, he took this guy's headache away and they were all amazed by it. And he left a mark from pulling the bad wind out is what he called it. I don't know why I'm telling you that. I just found that fascinating. I don't know why I'm telling you this. Anyway, it's interesting because it's interesting how people like make assumptions that people who are doing these things are just, off their rocker or whatever, or woo. I was watching, again, I watch reality TV because I don't really understand humans. And I've always been a bit of a people watcher. And so I was watching, I think it was Big Brother Canada. And there was this person, non-binary, so I'm going to respect them. They were talking about how they talk to their spirit guides, and the other people in the house were like, that person is insane. But before a challenge, this person was talking to their spirit guides, asking for protection, guidance, whatever. And then during the tiebreaker question, when they had to answer a tiebreaker question, they put 1111 and they ended up winning. Anyway, I don't know why I'm telling you this. I guess because I hope that those types of things become more, not that they need to be socially acceptable, but it would be nice if, like, I know when I tell a muggle what I do, that I read tarot, they're like, oh, like, I know the reaction. I get it. I see it. My hope is that someday spirituality and healing and spirit guides and things like that are more acceptable. Not that I need them to be socially acceptable because I'll like what I want because I'm authentic, dang it. I used to care about what people think. Now I want to like what I want to like, but my hope is that it becomes more socially acceptable and that more of us start sharing our light and talking about it so that it's not such a, I don't know what the right word is. I don't want to say taboo because I don't even know what that means, but I think you know. Blink twice if I'm making sense. So we have one next step here. So, one next step. What if you step into the unknown? What if you followed your instincts rather than following the crowd? As I'm talking about marching to the beat of your own drummer and being your authentic self, and how I hope that I don't need it to be socially acceptable, but it would be nice if people weren't so judgmental. Anyway. So often we stop ourselves from taking action out of the fear that we might get it wrong or we are not clear on exactly where we are going. This moment is the time to stop procrastinating. Listen to your gut feeling, trust the whisper, remember, trust the whisper, and take that step. It could be designing a mood board, starting your novel, getting out into nature, or whatever you desire. The first step is the hardest, so take a deep breath, face the direction you want to go, and step forward. The rest will follow. Do you know my entire life, my soul has whispered at me that I'm supposed to write a book? And my limiting beliefs about myself and my own capabilities of that. And I've mentioned how I grew up with, parents who were telling me that I wasn't smart. And I kind of kept that mindset my entire life that I'm not smart enough. But my entire life, I've felt like I'm supposed to write a book, and I don't even know why or about what. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you, that's a little whisper that I have that I haven't let that whisper be louder than that whisper. So maybe you have a similar little whisper, I feel like there's a reason I've always felt like I'm supposed to write a book. It feels like it's because I will write one someday. When I take that one next step, oh my gosh, it's on page 110 and 111. That hasn't happened in a while. So, how to take one next step. Place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths, feeling your belly and chest rise and fall. In your mind's eye, picture yourself 5 years from now. Where are you? How do you feel? What are you doing? And who are you with? With that vision, ask yourself, what is one practical step I can take to move towards that vision? Then open your eyes and go for it. I like that. So I'm just going to get one more card from this deck, and then we'll read the chapter of that book, and then I'll let you go. We have release old patterns. I think that's a good one. 16, tower energy, so releasing things that no longer serve you, that no longer align with you, patterns that don't work for you anymore. So, releasing old thought patterns, like that stinky thought pattern that keeps me from feeling like I'm smart enough to write a book. Get out of here. Did you know that around 90% of your thoughts are the same from day to day? Let that extraordinary figure sink in. If you are repeating your thoughts over and over again, it's easy to get stuck in the past. This new knowledge opens up the opportunity to rewrite your repetitive thought patterns, which will free you from your past and bring about fresh perspectives and possibilities. What old unconscious thought patterns are holding you back from stepping into your power? The key is to become aware of your repetitive thoughts so that you have a choice to release them. How to release old patterns. Write down 3 things in your life that have really challenged you. Perhaps a breakup, leaving a job, or a family argument. Explore how each one made you feel and how you reacted to them in the moment. Notice if a repeated pattern begins to emerge. Do not judge yourself. Instead, use it as awareness practice. Once you have identified your reaction to each experience, explore other, more constructive behaviors you could have chosen. We often have more choices than we know. Once we have awareness, the next step is to take a moment to breathe. Next time a challenging situation appears, take a deep breath before you respond. Watch as your new patterns emerge. And I'm feeling called to say, like, something about these new patterns. It's also repeating them. They become more of a habit. So you can release the old patterns and learn new ones. And eventually they become more, like for me with my patterns right now, I really have to stop and like stop myself from repeating the same pattern. I need to stop before I react. And in time, that becomes more of a second nature, is what I'm trying to say. So maybe you're someone trying to change patterns about yourself, negative thought patterns. You know, we were talking about negative thought patterns when it comes to our parents the other day and how they can become deeply ingrained in us. And it takes work to change that deeply ingrained pattern. Some of us have been living out these patterns since childhood, you know, repetitively over and over again in every relationship. Anyway, I do want to read from that book, but for some reason I'm looking at my Animal Apothecary book, wanting to get you one card from my Animal Apothecary books, or deck, not my deck. Cara Elizabeth, not my deck. But for some reason, I feel these were the 3 decks that I felt called to for you today. So I just want to see what this one card is that needs to come out. And if it's the Jaguar card, well, you already know what to expect from that one. Me crying. No. We have Victory. Interesting. We have Victory. 40. Interesting. Falcon. Interesting. Falcon heralds victory on the horizon. She dares you to accept all challenges. Now you must focus like Falcon on the end goal and discipline yourself to actualize your inner vision. There's no time for mindless activities. Focus like a laser on what needs to be done and do it. Something special is waiting to be developed, but it requires your steadfast commitment. What you most desire may take months or years, but do not rush for completion. Timing will play in your favor if you endure the long journey. Falcon's medicine shares that the key to your victory is discipline. Do not lean on motivation to carry you through, because on your journey, motivation will often vanish for a time, and you must discipline yourself to push through no matter what. What you desire is attainable, and what you long to do in this life is yours, but you must work for it. Falcon's medicine suggests that you create a commitment of just 20 minutes a day towards working on your goal. Now more than ever is the time you must take steadfast action and have unwavering faith. You will succeed. Do not give up. Keep going. Something beyond your wildest dreams awaits you to capture it. Falcon's medicine is an honor to have chosen today in your spread. It brings the medicine of victory, but remember, it comes to you through your discipline. And it does take discipline to go after your dreams. It does take discipline to have success in anything you do. I'm going to get one more. We have no expectations, and we also have small steps, big accomplishments. I like that for the theme of this. So we have no expectations, 22. Let's see. Black Panther represents walking the dark and exploring the feminine power of allowing development to come from the unknown. Walking into the unknown with no expectations is the key that will open the door to your success and victory. Interesting, because you just had the victory card. The no exceptions medicine of this card strongly advises you not to limit yourself with ideas about how anything will unfold. Life is planning something more delicious than you can currently understand. Something profound is on the horizon for you. The success card said that too. Trust life without needing to be the dictator of how and when your manifestation will blossom into fruition. Intense expectations will only inhibit the ability of what is more extraordinary to develop. Take the risk for what you desire without the desperate need to control how it will unfold. A situation you perceive as a failure today may be what leads you to unfathomable success in 3 years. This is why an expectation of how you think things should work is futile. Understand that whatever occurs in your world is meant for your growth. Our misguided steps and our mistakes are our greatest teachers. Taking risks allows divine opportunities to present themselves. Take note if you are met with continuous resistance and rigid expectation. This is a universal sign that another direction is more beneficial. So take a step back and allow the path of least resistance to be revealed. This is not to say you should give up immediately, but it does warn that you may be unaligned with the flow. It may also be a signal that you just need to wait a little longer. So, there's more. Black Panther is the queen of facing fears and taking risks to achieve her heart's desires. Hang on. I needed to cough a little. Queen of Swords. Authentic truth. The Black Panther reminds me of the Queen of Swords because in some of the tarot decks I have, animal decks, on the Queen of Swords there's a Black Panther. And that can be about expressing your authenticity or your truth, or maybe there's a message you're supposed to be sharing with the world. If you are questioning whether to go forward with an idea that feels totally uncertain, Black Panther's medicine asks you to go for it. Do not seek immediate gratification. Remember, the results may take time to unravel, but taking the risk to do what is best for you will always yield positive results. So, I'm done now. For some reason, I felt called to get those 3 decks for you today. So hopefully, somewhere in there's a message that you needed to hear. So, next chapter. Sometimes purpose can be so subtle you don't realize you're already living it. If you're longing for a sense of purpose, a semblance of meaning, some sort of sign or affirmation that is not an affirmation. Some sort of sign or affirmation that you are indeed, affirmation as I'm looking to see if that's an affirmation, that you are indeed on the right path, it would probably help to begin with understanding what purpose really is. Purpose isn't always loud. It also isn't always just one thing. It's not exclusively a job or position, vocation or calling. It's not always your art. It's not always a business, though it can very often be those things. The truth is that your purpose is far more dynamic and deeply embedded within the truth of who you are than you might recognize at first. Your purpose is something you are already living. Your purpose is a role you play, firstly, to yourself. It's the relationships you have. It's the way you care for others and the way they care for you. It's how you exchange love, how you bond with some people and break with others. It's not what you do, but the way you do it, day in and day out. We have all met those human beings that are simply just beacons of kindness, who radiate love through everything they do. We come across them in the most unsuspecting of ways. Hang on. I had to cough. We come across them in the most unsuspecting of ways, and yet they very often make such an impression on us that we remember them to this day. These are the teachers who gave us guidance, the peers who saw us and stood by us even when we feared they wouldn't, the parent who acted defiantly and taught us the meaning of bravery or loyalty or love, the neighbor who showed us what community means, the random person we passed as we were moving through our errands for the day that gave us a smile or spoke spoke goodness over us, who saw within us more potential than we could have ever initially seen in ourselves. Our purpose is not just something we do, it's something we become. Every time you interact with someone, you are creating a cascading ripple effect through humanity. You cannot imagine how deeply this web of connectivity is woven, how much a single act of kindness can affect the world at large, how powerfully one soul showing another true love can impact the way that person interacts with every other person they come across forever. Imagine the people within your own life who have impacted you the most. Certainly you can see they weren't always the ones who were doing the work in the most visible ways, but often the ones who were teaching and showing you unconditional presence. Their purpose was, in part, to be that for you. It was also 1,000 other things as well. The kids they taught or the patients they nursed, the customers they helped or the partner they loved. They were able to fulfill those roles because they brought their own unique love to the tasks they were asked to complete within their lifetimes. In this way, our first purpose is to ourselves. I know that sounds so counterintuitive, as though purpose is exclusively selfless. The reality is that to be overflowing with love, we must first fill ourselves up with it. I agree. We must first come to a place of knowing before we can share wisdom. We must first know connection before we can connect. Everyone you admire who has guided you and loved you into who you are today did just that. If your purpose is your job, that is extraordinary. It is still not your only reason for being. Your first and most crucial task is your commitment to your own becoming. It is from this garden that all else is harvested. Your first purpose is just to be here, to be weird and ordinary and exceptional, to think and feel and know and wonder, to build yourself into a person you are proud to be, even if no one else is clapping for you. I'll clap for you. It is only through this that we ultimately share our purpose with every person we know, and everyone we some way will. We heal with a simple smile, a message of appreciation, a warm-hearted act of love. We heal as we teach our children and listen to our ancestors. We heal as we learn to take care of ourselves as well as we would any one of them. We heal not as we change what we do upon this world, but how we do it. We become purposeful as we realize that since the very moment we were born, we were overflowing with potential to extend that love in every direction we can reach. So, I'm really tempted to read this next one to you. I'm just going to read it to you. We're just going to do it. We're just going to do it. This is how you start to let go, even if you don't feel like you are ready yet. And I just feel like this is important for some of the stuff we were talking about. You cannot force yourself to let go, no matter how much you know you want to. You cannot force something out of your brain space, no matter how much you don't want it to be there. You cannot just simply loosen your grip and relax a little and will yourself to stop thinking entirely about something around which your entire world used to orbit. This is not how it goes. You are not going to let go of the moment someone tells you to move on. No, you are not going to let go the moment someone tells you to move on. The day you realize you have to admit certain defeat, the heart-dropping second it occurs to you that hope is indeed futile. You do not let go by willing yourself not to care anymore. This is something that people who have never been painfully hung up on. Hang on. I know I'm seeing an editing mistake in this book. I know it. This is something that people who have never been painfully hung up on something. That There's a word missing. I feel like this is something that people do who have never been painfully hung up on something. But anyway, this is something that people who have never been deeply attached to something for a sense of safety and security and love and their future believe. I'm seeing like, okay, there's a paragraph in this book, just there, where there were words missing. There was an editing error in that paragraph. I know there was. And I'm going to take this book and I'm going to take it to my partner and I'm going to show it to him. And I'm going to be like, does that make sense to you? Because it confused my brain. Let's continue. There's nothing wrong with you because you almost feel a sense of anger when people tell you to just let go nonchalantly, as though they couldn't fathom the storms in your head and heart. How can you become so passive about something you have spent so much of your time and your life actively working to maintain and restore? You can, you don't. You can't, you don't. You start to let go the day you take one step towards building a new life. And then let yourself lay and stare at the ceiling and cry for as many hours as you need. You start to let go the day you realize that you cannot continue to orbit a black hole in your life, and going on as you were before will simply not be an option. You start to let go the moment you realize that this is the catalyst. This is the moment movies are made about and books are written around and songs are inspired by. This is the moment you realize that you will never find peace standing in the ruins of what you used to be. You can only move on if you start building something new. You let go when you build a new life so immersive and engaging and exciting, you slowly, over time, forget about the past. When we try to force ourselves to let go, we grip onto it tighter and harder and more passionately than ever before. It's like when someone tells you not to think of a white elephant, that's the only mental image you'll be able to focus on. Our hearts work the same as our minds in this regard. As long as we are telling ourselves that we must let go, the more deeply we feel attached. So don't tell yourself to let go. Instead, tell yourself that you can be upset for as long as you need, that you can fall to pieces and be a mess and let your life collapse and crumble. Tell yourself that you can let your foundation fall through. What you will realize is that you are still standing. What you build in the wake and the aftermath of a loss will be so profound, so stunning, you will realize that maybe the loss was part of the plan. Maybe it awakened a part of you that would have remained dormant had you not been pushed the way you were. If you are certain that you cannot let go of what is hurting you, then don't. But take one step today and then another tomorrow to rebuild a new life for yourself. Piece by piece, day by day, because sooner or later, you're going to go an hour and realize you didn't think about it. Then a day, then a week, and then years and swaths of your life drift by, and everything you thought would break you becomes a distant memory, something you look back at and smile. Everything you lose becomes something you are profoundly grateful for. With time, you see that it was not the path. It was what was standing in your way. So whatever that means to you, whatever you're trying to let go of, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 more chapters, 10, and then we're done. And we can say we accomplished something together. Anyway, thank you for sticking around for that. That felt a little crazy because that paragraph did not make sense to me. Again, I'm going to take this downstairs. I don't even know where it went, but I want to know if I'm imagining that. Maybe I am imagining it. I don't know. Something seemed off in that paragraph to me. But anyway, that has nothing to do with anything. So my friends, it's 456, living in alignment. You're on the right path, 456. Me and Pinky are going to go now. So I hope you guys have a good night, and hopefully I'll be here tomorrow with another soul tribe reading. Hopefully the energy will allow it. Like I said, the last 2 days I've been not feeling myself, so I took 2 days to myself, and I feel much better doing readings today. I feel it lights up my soul. So anyway, thank you, my friends, for being here for a soul tribe reading. I know sometimes they're a little woo, but I appreciate you, and I appreciate you listening to them. And I'm just going to ignore my ego monster on this one. My ego monster is telling me don't post it, but I'm going to post it. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. I'll see you later, my friends. And I'm sending you lots of love and light as usual. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.